So we kicked off the Indy Racing World Series this week. Wednesday Night Dash went to the Roval, which Erik was not present for. And after probably watching some of us struggle through that night, he's probably like, not a bad thing that I missed. So we'll recap a little bit on Daytona 500 after the dust is settled. This is FR Racing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Flook.
I'm Erik Richardson.
And yes, on the shirt, got the merch tonight. So yeah, got the shirt. You can get yourself the Garage Talk mug over at frracingonline.com. So powered by Extreme Sim Racing. So real quick on Daytona, we released our 5-minute show. We actually stuck to 5 minutes. I can't believe it, but we did.
Yeah, that's a miracle.
And we were going to release it Monday. Normally, these will be out Monday morning. We recap the weekend in racing, but the only event was the Daytona.
Monday afternoon.
Yeah, so we waited till the end of the Daytona. We actually recorded it while the Xfinity race was going on. So
yes, we did.
Austin Hill won the Xfinity race with his whole front right side completely covered in duct tape, which that's why we love NASCAR, because no other major racing organization can you get in a wreck, duct tape your car back together, and then come back and win the race. But congratulations,
Tim.
Tim.
It should be.
I always laugh in Formula One. Got a puncture.
One other piece of news out of Daytona that isn't race related. The owners have been meeting.
Yeah.
About the whole charter system.
Yeah.
And the NASCAR president declined an invitation to go talk.
Yeah, that's no good.
So it's going to be fun to see kind of where this goes.
There's been talk, too, of teams not showing up for events as kind of a protest of how this goes. And this could get ugly.
When you have teams even like Hendrick saying that we lose money throughout the season.
I mean, you basically, like, you look at 2311, Michael Jordan is just sitting there pumping his own money into that. I mean, he's got the connections with McDonald's and Air Jordan. And I mean, Michael Jordan, I forget what the stat was of how much Air Jordan makes a day, just the brand Air Jordan. You know what I'm a little surprised we haven't seen? We haven't seen a Gatorade car.
We haven't. It's been small sponsors. It's on Ludgard's IndyCar this year.
I have to assume Michael still hangs out with Gatorade. I mean, like, he was Gatorade for the longest time. It was McDonald's, it was Gatorade, it was Air Jordan, and it was Hanes underwear. That was Michael Jordan.
Well, one thing I saw is Air Jordan still makes more money in a year than basically everybody in the NBA combined.
Yeah. Air Jordan, there was that movie that came out a while back, and they thought that Nike basically banking that Michael Jordan was going to be a star before he even played his first game. Everyone's like, okay, this was stupid. And nope, wasn't stupid. Wasn't stupid at all. Worked out okay for them.
Yeah, pretty good setup.
Yeah. Jordan's been retired now for probably 21, 22 years at this point.
Yeah, I think he played his last game in 2003 with Wizards?
Yeah, something like, yeah, I think it was about 2003. So Jordan has been retired for 20 years. He's as still relevant to the NBA as ever. The Air Jordan logo is on, they have jerseys, Nike's the sponsor, but they have the Jumpman, City Connect, whatever they call them, jerseys. You have Air Jordan in NASCAR. Actually, I think got something to show everybody here. Yeah.
You have that one, don't you?
Yeah, I do. You got the Air Jordan.
Yep.
NASCAR. You have the Air Jordan soccer jerseys with some of the Nike sponsored teams in Europe, most PSG in Paris. You have Air Jordan football jerseys. Michigan's the one that comes to mind. It's like this guy is like sports. Like, he's bigger than sports, and it's like you can say, "Oh, this guy's a better shooter. This guy's a better player." Like, no, Michael Jordan is He's just an icon. Like there's no doubt about it. Like you can't argue that.
I'll take what Richard Petty said. Jordan's maybe moving down the list, but they played in different eras,
Yeah,
so it's hard to really compare.
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, Will Chamberlain, he scored 100 points. There's no footage of that game anywhere that anyone's ever
Nope.
seen. Just the picture of him holding up a piece of paper that says 100. So maybe I should just do that. Take a picture that says first place. Like, I won a race. Prove I didn't. Actually, good.
Be almost impossible now.
Yeah. Now it's. So it's still controversy at Daytona. Do you know there was a ticket lady they showed during the Xfinity race? The lady who works in the ticket office at Daytona is named after her. She still works there at 103 years old.
That's wild.
And she has her own office. She sits there and she like packs envelopes now, but she was with it. And it's like Michael Waltrip did a bit, and he's been hanging out with her every time they come down to the track. He goes down and sees her, and they did a bit. And man, that lady was super sharp. It's like if I make it to 103, I hope I'm that sharp because, man, unreal.
That's everybody's goal, right?
Yeah.
And
So
we'll give them credit. They said if you had tickets for Xfinity or the Cup race, just come on down and spend all day with us on Monday.
there was arguments of, was it Bowman or was it Byron who won the 500 earlier in the week? But people have kind of come around like, okay, it was Byron. I mean, is what it is. It's just, it's unfortunate how that race ended again, as we mentioned on the show earlier this week.
And just a wild set of events there. But I mean, you're going one lap to go. You're like Chastain said, you're gonna try to make any move you can.
For every iconic finish of a race, you're gonna have probably 3 times as many dud finishes. And I mean, that was a dud finish, but again, congratulations to William Byron.
I read an article just in between the recap and this show, and it's talking about the super speedway racing, this pack racing. Is it really good for NASCAR because of the safety and all the big crashes? Between the series, it was something like 80 out of 114 vehicles were damaged.
Yeah. Poor Ryan Blaney always seems to take the hardest shots of anybody.
He had two nasty ones.
And
Suarez took another hard hit.
Was it Ty Gibbs? I think it might have been Ty Gibbs, if I remember correctly. Took a pretty big hit. And you could see like his eyes through his visor. You could see his eyes just like bug out, like, whoa. I mean, it's you have to like, done all the safety improvements over the years, but it's just like, ugh.
Especially in these cars, you still don't want to get hit in the back.
And you look at the truck race, and the end of that truck race, almost everybody was involved in that. Most of the field was involved at the end of the Cup race. Xfinity, they had a bunch of wrecks earlier on. I don't think they did have one at the end. But it's yeah, there's a lot of damage going on with those tracks, and you have to wonder if the teams are like, I mean, they're not going to get rid of the Daytona 500. That would be silly, but
no, they've been racing here for how many years? The drivers know the risks. They know what's coming. As with the Xfinity and the trucks, we kind of alluded to it on our Tuesday show. These drivers don't get any seat time.
No, they don't. Not at all. It's just like here, it's like our Wednesday night dash warm-ups. Come out and get a few minutes of warm-up. Like, all right, let's go. But it's like, we wreck a sim car. Oh well.
Yeah, nobody gets hurt there. Except maybe a direct drive wheel if it snaps on you.
Yeah, I've had a couple. When I first started going from that G920 over to the direct drive wheel, and you got the first kind of hard lick, you're like, whoa, get the hands off. It's I can see how somebody might break a wrist doing that, but other than that, yeah, it's not the same.
Well, one of the bigger things that I see with especially Daytona and Talladega, it seems more as a result of the bump drafting.
Yeah, and
You get, especially now in these next gens, you just get slightly off center and you're going to unstabilize that car in front of you. And if you're three wide, it's game over.
well, and then you have as things filtered together, you had drivers that were out there driving, like half throttle. Then you had all the manufacturers getting together. It's like, oh, here come the Fords to pit. Here come the Toyotas. And
So, if anything, I would say let's adjust the bump drafts.
I would agree with that. I think that needs to happen.
At least a place to start.
We got Talladega in what, like a month and a half. So we got Atlanta this weekend if it doesn't rain.
Yeah, get rain through every race this year. Mother Nature 1, NASCAR 0 so far.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Mother Nature 2 if the forecast holds.
Hopefully, it's not like last year where let's call it after 10 laps past halfway for rain that may or may not
May not be
still
there.
come.
Yeah. And iRacing is gonna be having some rain here in a little couple weeks.
Yes, they are.
I
Only a
hope
couple
they
weeks away now from the new build.
I can't wait till they add the rain to the NASCAR. Put a little wet track on there.
Go run Richmond.
Oh, yep, the short track package.
So
So
what do you got there?
I got a picture frame, and in this picture frame, this is something we've been working on. Yeah, okay, it says right here. This was filed on December 6, 2021, about 6 months after we officially started this venture. And yesterday, after over 2 years, due to some delays, some questionable, is this infringing on somebody? No, it wasn't. We successfully lobbied that. And on my hand, I hold a registered trademark for FR Racing. So if you infringe on our trademark, we'll sue you. Yeah, it's not a lawyer, but the best piece of advice is protect your intellectual property.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, you may not have a brand that is well known when you're getting started, but as you grow, someone might come in, try to rip you off. But you know what? Not in this case.
Well, what was it? Was it in Arizona? Company was Meta,
Yeah.
and
They're
they
a
got a handsome payout, I think.
yeah, they're up in Scottsdale. So when Mark Zuckerberg announced that Facebook was going to become Meta, a company here in Phoenix, up in Scottsdale, actually, they're a gaming PC builder called Meta, spelled the same way. And when Mark said, we're going to call ourselves Meta, Meta PC's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. So yeah, rumor, undisclosed amount. Meta PC's got a undisclosed sum of funds from allegedly from Mr. Zuckerberg. His pockets are deep enough. So he could bring us the life-changing metaverse. Just kidding. Still don't understand what he's trying to do there.
No. It is what it is.
Our future of life is we will put on VR goggles and sit next to each other in a virtual conference room having meetings where I can turn to you in my VR goggles and say, this is so much better than sitting next to a human in person. I mean, I guess when I phrase it like that, I guess I kind of see the appeal.
It's kind of like Kingsman. They just holographed into one meeting room. They're all in their separate locations.
It's I don't know, when it's put like that, it's like, you know what, that is kind of appealing. When Zoom isn't good enough, go to the metaverse. Yeah, that bled money and was not one of Mark's better ideas. But again, you could argue Facebook wasn't his idea either. Ooh.
There was a movie about that.
I don't think I've ever seen it, actually.
It's actually not a bad movie.
Really? Maybe I'll check it out. What movie
Not
did
sure
I?
how factual it actually is, but
Yeah,
it's a decent movie. It's worth a watch.
there's a movie recently where Zach Galifianakis played Ty Warner, the founder of Ty Beanie Babies, and Ty Warner is notorious for just not going in public and not making a lot of statements. And he gave an interview to like I think it was the New York Post. He's like, none of this is true. Like this is complete fabricated garbage. And this person who is like this so-called important figure in the movie, it's like this person was like a low-level secretary. Like, no, like this is complete trash. Hey, if it has Zach Galifianakis, I'll watch it someday.
Any way to make a buck.
The unauthorized biography of so and so. It's
Maybe
kind of
someday
like
we'll get a movie about us for the
we
rags to
strive
riches.
we strive to have somebody want to make a movie about us and our journey someday. I'm like, okay, you know what? Go ahead. I'll sit down and I'll fact check everything for you. I'm like, yeah, that's true, but let's exaggerate it a little bit for Hollywood because that's not very exciting, or that's not
Yeah,
one of my
that's
finer
what Hollywood
moments.
does. Gotta exaggerate.
Yeah, I mean, if you
We're
told
down to our last
stories,
dime living on the street.
I got down to my last dime, I get into a fist fight with a guy on the street for a quarter. Yeah, no, that didn't happen.
And then he took my dime.
At least not yet, but it did not happen. So Indy Racing World Series, we after a long time of
A
delays and
little over a
licensing and
year.
motorsport games. On a side note, the Le Mans, whatever they called it, motorsport games, it's not doing so hot as I don't think anybody's too surprised. People are buying it on Steam, and it's like you have like 20 minutes to return it after you buy it, and like people are like, yeah, I returned it. It's pretty much trash.
Didn't help when Max rage quits because it was that bad.
Yeah. That's one person you don't want. Who Max Verstappen, who is a full second faster than everyone else in testing. So,
But
congratulations,
hey,
Max Verstappen, winner of his fourth straight title.
Haas turned the most laps though.
Slowest laps, yeah.
They were testing their tires
Of
and
course.
learning about them.
Yeah, well, no one cares about Haas anymore. The only reason people cared about Haas was that they just want to see what Gunther Steiner was going to say next, and he's not there anymore, so who cares?
So over under, Haas scores 1 point on the season.
I'll take the over. Not too much over, but I think I
Two.
can. Yeah, it might get like 5.
There will be something somewhere where they steal a couple.
Speaking of Haas, Stewart Haas over in NASCAR. Tony Stewart is like, yeah, this is not gonna fly, guys. You better win some races.
We need to win or we're making changes.
Chase Briscoe is the senior driver on that team.
He does have a win to his credit.
One, yes. It's Phoenix Raceway in spring of 2022, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was a couple seasons ago now.
So that's a couple weeks away. So, next.
So yeah, sidetrack.
Oh yeah.
Race
Indy Racing
one,
World Series.
Chicagoland.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for me. I had got caught up in an accident. Somebody checked up, bumped the wall, checked up, and I ran into Brian McKinney, and Brian's night was ruined. And yeah, it was. I had to sacrifice a pit stop to get back onto the lead lap, so I'm just fuel saving to the end. And I did. I only finished like 6 seconds off the winner, but I made it by like I think 9/10 of a lap I had left in fuel when we finished.
That's close.
You, on the other hand, had an exciting finish.
We don't talk about that. Well,
You and
on the
Chicagoland
race,
Speedway always find a way to go make turn 4 of the final lap interesting.
yeah, on the race though, we did have 12 lead changes among 6 different drivers. So it's awesome. Lots of people driving up front. But yeah, Chicagoland last lap, turn 4 is not my friend.
Yeah,
Last
yep.
season, it was trying to find space and dive to the inside to get a run, and apron wasn't too nice. And then this time, it's trying to find a way to get that edge. Probably should have just held the line, but tried to tuck back in. And when I came back out, a little oscillation and side draft, and yeah, it was game over. I feel
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. I went back and watched the replay of that. I was like, ooh, that's brutal.
Yeah, it looks intentional, but it by far was not.
No, it was a
I came
racing
back
incident.
out and exited forward, just had a little bit of loop in the car still, and it went back across.
I post race yesterday, yeah, whatever day that was, Tuesday. Um, Joe Hutchings, we were in the Discord post race, as we frequently do with our leagues, and kind of a post race. We're on the voice chat and we're just kind of hanging out and just talking about it and off topic stuff. And Joe's like, man, he goes, this is why I like this league. Why I think this league's gonna work out well is that because I've been in so many leagues and uh the fact that we're here after the race, just kind of chit chatting with each other and hanging out and not like down each other's throats, like that's he goes, that's a win. So I'm like, you know what? That's what we aim for. Don't take ourselves too seriously. We have some fun. Stuff happens. Move on.
That's what I really like. We can race hard, crash, but we have fun with it. We talk about it afterwards, and
Yeah, we break it down. We looked at a couple incidents in the event, and you know, I have to say, I was on fumes on like 55 lap tires, and Mark Allet was chasing me down. And I was like, I'm not letting this guy pass me. And I just basically my whole final lap, I was just watching him in the mirror and just kind of sliding up into his line. Like he was far enough back that I wasn't intentionally blocking him, but I figured out his pattern of what he was doing. And I was just sitting there sliding up in his line and he couldn't make a run on me. And I'm like, all right. This is the first like true defense of my position that I've ever. I mean, I wouldn't have done that if this was another part of the race, but on the last lap, like I gotta hold this spot.
my race was pretty up and down. And started on the pole, was just hanging out front. I was gonna fuel save the whole thing and try to do it on one stop. Because I was actually just sitting at like 75% throttle, just sitting in a draft. I wanted to see what the first cars did. But then that caution came out. Was that yours?
No, I was the second. I think
And
other
everybody
Erik
pits.
was
I'm
the
like,
first
oh,
one.
here we go. I know we're stopping one more time and we can make it. So let's do it.
Yeah, I managed to make a second stop at about lap 47 after my accident. Took my fast repair, and it's the second time I've done that where I've been tailing Brian and Brian just gets like just ends up just somebody does something goofy and
Well,
he
and
ends
these
up
cars have
bumping.
so much aero push on them
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And I was following probably a little too close and just plow. I mean, he was wrecked. I mean, he was damaged anyway. I just plowed into the back of him in the process and just
Well, and I think it was that second caution. The other cars ended up pitting and I stayed out. And somehow I gave up a few spots early, but then I started to battle back. I'm like, I need to pit. And I was getting close to the end and having to do a green flag stop, but I actually got bumped and spun. I was able to keep it off the wall and keep driving it. And I think I restarted like sixth or seventh, moved back up to the front. Then that late caution came.
And yeah, that's where I got my lap back to get myself on the lead lap. And Derek's like, "Hey, nice to see you up here." I'm like, "Hey, glad to be here."
There's a lot of close racing. It'll be fun to see how the season goes here. You got a
Yes,
fun
I,
track coming up,
it's
Indianapolis
pretty
Oval.
balanced. This group is pretty balanced. In limited action last year, we raced with Joe previously. I thought Joe was going to come and wipe the floor with us, but we've been hanging with him so far. So it's a pretty balanced group, which is awesome. Which makes the racing better. And Taka's got the broadcast. It was his first time out this week as number one. So we're going to keep working with him. I think he did a really good job, and we're going to keep working on getting him better. And
Yeah, so far, really good race. I'm excited to see what the next races bring. And the more that we race, we're going to start to figure out each other more. This is only the second time we've really all been on track together with a much bigger field.
yep. And oh, by the way, we'll make this announcement now. I got to wrap here soon, but Hunter Hughes is going to be returning to the car next season in the truck series on Wednesday nights. So we'll be looking for a new announcer for Wednesday. If you're interested in broadcasting with us on Wednesday nights, get in touch. We'll have an ad posted here soon looking for our next voice of Wednesday Night Dash.
Yeah, we'll miss him in the booth, but excited to get him back out onto the track. I think you muted yourself.
I did. I actually
There it
turned the
is.
light on and I tried to turn the light back off, but real quick, um, the Roval this week, Fernando Takahashi, our road ringer, walked in and wiped the floor with everybody. He looked really good out there. Me, not so much. But I
Yeah, I was
walked out there with.
watching. This is what Ian had one moment, and Fernando pounced on it, and he got close a couple times, but couldn't quite finish that gap.
So yeah, I walked out. My incident count was only 3. It was just 3 off tracks that I got hit on. I was slow. I was a few seconds off the pace. And it is what it is. But it's Indy week next week for both Tuesday and Wednesday night. So Indy week. That's gonna be weird. Driving the IR18 one night and then going into a stock car the next night. Oh boy, that's gonna be a tough adjustment.
Yeah, I'll get the IndyCar, but unfortunately, I have to miss Wednesday again.
So
But
we're gonna
that's
go ahead and
okay.
wrap up for tonight. So frracingonline.com. Again, if you want to broadcast Wednesday Night Dash from April or actually April onward, get in touch with us at FR Racing Online, and we'll see you next Tuesday we'll see you Monday for our weekend update on hopefully Atlanta. I mean, hopefully it won't be delayed. We're getting close to Formula One season. IndyCar starts in a few weeks. And yeah.
Yeah, about to get busy. And also, if you are interested in being a race or season sponsor, we have those available for Indy Racing League. And
Oh no, we're not
well,
Indy Racing.
not our Indy Racing League, not
Yes.
the actual one,
Yes, not the old former Indy Racing
the
League.
Indy Racing World Series, I should
Yes.
say, in
Yes,
our Wednesday
yes.
Night Dash League. Both of those have opportunities available.
All right. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.